Yo dudes, Novinator here, back with another edition of that thing. Yeah, this is probably gonna be the last one of those things. I should have just waited for this trailer. Gone are the days of eating scrap bits of Famitsu for breakfast and desperately mulling over character trailers for things that probably don't actually exist. We got a second feature-length trailer, we got gameplay previews, we got the last 3 character trailers, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, we got some work to do now. As always, I am discussing these things with you as someone who has played the vanilla version of Persona 5 and will be treating you, yes you, hi Tom, as someone who has done the same. If you have not and are looking to experience either version of Persona 5 as blind as possible, do yourself a solid, get out now, get to work on fuck-proofing your internet like I am. The game is out in Japan in less than 3 months, and you've got 6 months on top of that if you're looking to play the English version, so go away, we're in the endgame now. Let's get the easy stuff out of the way. Haru's character trailer, it showcases more of her and Morgana's Showtime attack, along with some footage of that new school event. There is unfortunately still no date shown, so it's still not clear if this is part of the new 3rd semester arc or a new sequence they've added as a way to introduce Haru into the story a bit earlier. Still hoping for the latter, because unfortunately the rest of her trailer is just even more footage of that Showtime and a new scene of her, Joker, and Morgana, presumably the one that will allow them to unlock said Showtime. We do get a pretty depressing stinger of the Dream World stuff that shows Haru in town with her father, and even just based on a few lines of dialogue, yeah, they clearly have a much better relationship in this world, and again, I really do feel for Haru, both in terms of what happens to her in the actual plot and her lack of focus in the vanilla version, so this is gonna hurt. Next up, Morgana, and oh boy, do I feel silly for calling some of the other character trailers bare bones. There's lots of new scenes, there's just not really any scenes of actual substance. It all just seems to be fluff text and minor new events and more of, that thing. And look at his new persona, Diego. That's just a reference to Zoro's real name. I was really hoping for Puss in Boots, not gonna lie. Not trying to pick on Morgana here. If I was trying, trust me, you'd know it, but yeah, there's just nothing here. On to the real shit. Atlus did a big livestream event showcasing a lot of the gameplay, and while that didn't reveal anything new in and of itself, the reports, Q&As, interviews, and trailers released right alongside it definitely did. First off, the reveal of another new character, Jose, a small egg boy who appears in Mementos and can help grant various items and bonuses for exploring it. Yeah, I'm honestly not quite sure what to make of him. He resembles a Velvet Room attendant, yet isn't wearing blue, and I just really wasn't expecting another new character other than maybe a new villain. I have nothing to base this on other than his existence itself being kind of sus, and one other thing I'll get to later, but I mean, we all know you can't trust eggs. Them's just the facts. The Q&A also contained a few minor but notable things. Unlike the vanilla game, PS4 share will not be disabled for 99% of the game. You will actually be able to take screenshots and sit again, so all those people who can't figure out how to disable this little notification are finally safe, though it will still be unavailable once you get to the endgame plot in December. Ryuji's infamous insta-kill ability will now only activate when dashing, meaning you no longer have to worry about losing out on delicious experience for the horrible crime of hanging out with your best friend. Futaba's new persona is called Al-Azif. It's just the original Arabic name for the Necronomicon, nothing special. And the biggest news of all, there will be at least one new palace. Wow, that is brand new information. And at long last, our second official trailer. Kasumi gets a magical girl transformation, and all I can say is if the rest of the thieves don't get one, then I will never have felt more robbed in my life. More gameplay of the new dungeon, including a look at Makoto's new 3rd-tier persona, Agnes, Pope Jones' real name. And boy, I hope everyone who called Johanna the Pope-mobile feels silly, because this, my friends, is a Pope-mobile. And some dialogue implying what I already kind of pieced together, you know, assuming the timeline hasn't been dicked with, and I don't think it has. The idea that this new dungeon technically might not actually be a palace, at least not the kind we're familiar with, since Cuphead would be dead by this point. The characters instead speculate that this is heaven, which, hey, if it's connected to the ideal Dreamworld shit, then yeah, an argument could be made for that. Probably an argument that ends with some of the characters debating, who are we to decide how real it is, and hey, if you want to go that route, by all means, just try and keep it less Danganronpa V3 and more, I don't know, Star Trek? That one Kamen Rider movie? Yeah, sure, let's go with that. A very bizarre, very white block of mementos with dialogue that suggests that this form is unnatural even for mementos, and given the predominantly white, almost heavenly atmosphere, it's probably connected in some way to the new Not Palace, and quite possibly our new little egg friend here. Lots of footage of the revamped dungeons, namely the grappling hook segments and a new portion to the mouse puzzle, because Atlus knows how much y'all love the mouse puzzle! I thought it was pretty fun. Making Madarame's boss fight either more or less obnoxious. I can't tell which. A cutscene we saw a bit of before back in Kasumi's own trailer of her helping out Joker in the Casino Palace. I think they're trying to make it look like she's actually aiming for Joker, but I mean, you can pretty clearly see she's going for the shadow. And while I do think Kasumi could very easily turn out to be the real villain here, I don't think it'll happen this early. Still not sure what to make of her being here, other than that I really hope her getting her powers this early doesn't further detract from Haru's lack of presence or that other thing that I'm deliberately avoiding talking about for now. Don't worry, I did see him. We'll get there. And a scene of Kasumi grasping at her mask in presumable pain, presumably long after she's already gotten her powers, with dialogue that could just be her being self-deprecating, could be an admission that whatever weirdness is happening in this new storyline is at least partially her fault. Footage that seems to imply that Kasumi will be added to the fireworks fail cutscene, but I think that's just tricky editing, especially since we get a slew of anime cutscenes from the vanilla game shortly after this, including a look at Cuphead, which further confirms that whatever the new threat here is, it will not be replacing him outright or anything. I think you'll still have to take him down at Christmas, it's just all this shit is gonna happen afterwards too. A cutscene of them escaping from the Knot Palace in the Monomobile, and whatever this new palace is, I'm thinking it's just connected directly to the dream world, cause none of the rest of this shit looks natural either. Big Titty Goth GF. Ryuji bugging you at work. Takuto being a filthy meme lord.
Don't fuck your teacher.
This awakening is still hardcore. Why does everything taste like copper? And more cutscenes of the new Knot Palace in that one Castle Oblivion-ass interior, and what looks like the same exterior of it that we saw in the scene with them driving away. Back in the first trailer, I suspected that new anime cutscene of roads collapsing was a new Memento section, but no, getting a better look at this area and seeing that it connects directly to the new palace, it's probably this place collapsing. And because we have so many new anime cutscenes of this place, I'm thinking that this area might be the location of our new final boss. Joker leaps into action against whatever the hell that final boss is, despite the protest of Morgana and Kasumi, and Lavenza executes him for his trouble. Probably not. So lots of new stuff in this one, but most of it's still pretty oblique, which, hey, is good. It's fun to watch trailers and speculate, but I would have been disappointed if they made things too obvious. We have a pretty good general idea of what kind of direction the new story stuff is going, and frankly, I think that's all we need for now. I'm hoping they don't show off much more beyond, like, minor gameplay stuff moving forward. I think we're at a good stopping point here. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The one thing that everyone actually cares about. The most important anything ever! You can take Yusuke out on a date! You probably can't actually date him, but hey, I'll take it.
Oh, and also, well, this thing, I guess.
Even though this is just a character trailer and probably not actually as important as the second trailer, I had to save talking about this last for a reason. Those of you who have been following this series since before it was technically a series know I have some very, very spicy takes on this man, and I had to save talking about him at all for last because, well, I'm fully prepared to take it all back. But I'm doing it begrudgingly. Very begrudgingly. Between the shots of him in the second trailer, told I saw him, and his own trailer, Atlas is very, very clearly taking steps to flesh out this character. Or, probably more accurate, whore out his character because, you know, delicious food, Joe Bucks. But, fuck it, if we can actually get a Goro who is a remotely compelling character out of the deal, I can forgive their ulterior motive. There is always a chance that they could still screw things up horribly or make things even worse somehow, but hey, I won't know that for at least another 8 months, and I have no choice but to give them the benefit of the doubt and shut my gob until then. And I have to keep my mouth shut now because they are in fact doing pretty much everything I suggested they do back in my original wishlist video. He's got some pretty fun-looking, goofy scenes, presumably of him being an actual human being and forming an actual bond with Joker rather than continually lobbing unwanted backstory at him. His social link is no longer plot-based. It will now rank up the same way as the rest of your party members sans Morgana. You have to actually choose to spend time with him. The fact that he's present in so many anime and CG cutscenes makes me believe he won't be a full-on optional party member based on whether or not you complete that confidant like I'd also suggested, but that goes back to the SMT franchise as a whole nowadays being afraid of choice, and it was unrealistic to expect them to do that in the first place, I'm aware. But hey, if they're actually doing things right this time, it's not like I'd have any reason to not want him in my party, especially because the best boys are gonna be gonna go short, he's gonna I really like Loki and SMT, and this is a real good design. I like him. I want a statue to put next to my arson. Please, thank you.
you.
And also, something that wasn't on my wish list, but that I did talk about prior, the idea that Goro would be someone unaffected by the dream world. Probably the one to try and pull Skiddly out of it. That is definitely at least partially the case. He's not trying to communicate from the world outside like I suspected, at least not in this shot, not in this scene, but yeah, he's clearly not under whatever thrall that the rest of the characters in this world seem to be under. And that's all I've got. I'm not quite sure if this will be the end of the series or not. Like I said, Persona 5 Royal will be releasing in Japan in just over 2 months now, and as I said before, I kinda don't want them to reveal much else. I'll take minor things like gameplay mechanics and the rest of the new third-tier Personas, but unless they actually drop another big trailer right before release, I'm gonna start preparing to go on media blackout and would recommend you do the same. Again, it's nice to speculate, but half the fun with these games is really just not fully knowing what you're getting into, and I really hope I'm able to experience that this time around. Regardless of if this is the end or not, I've enjoyed this journey and hope you've all tolerated me? Tolerate's a good word? If you have, consider subscribing. I play video games with my best friends and we'll probably do more stuff like this series in the future, even if it's not this series itself. If you really tolerated it, consider pledging to our Patreon. You'll help support the whole channel and I will actually do more stuff like this. I want to do more stuff like this. Just tell me what to do. What do you want to hear me yell about? I don't know what else I can yell about. I'll see you next time.